Okay, are we on? Take two. Okay. All right. You're going to get raw and unfiltered. It's the second time. I finally figured it out. Leslie Plazz here. Zazoo Plazz. It's the workshop. It's the Sesame workshop. It's the Zazoo. I'm like the mad scientist, right, folks? Okay. I show up every day. I never know what's going to go wrong. So I'm constantly on a quest to get over obstacles that I have no idea what they are until I stumble upon them. And then I use my highest intuition to get through them. This is not possible, okay? You're not going to hear this anywhere else. These are unique challenges to me, Zazoo Plazz. Leslie. Rant coming. All right, Zazoo. You shush. I'm going to get out of here. All right. Let's see. Zazoo report. Take two. I don't think I'd be a very good actor because my patience dwindles as I wake up in the morning and I'm 100% charged. Like my laptop was the first time. Now it's only 43%. So I gotta. And then as the day goes on, my energy level kind of till I'm at this point where I'm like, I gotta get it in before it's completely drained. May 26th. It's Memorial Day, Monday, like 5 in the afternoon. The first one I did was 2 hours ago, okay? It was beautiful. I said some things in there that maybe the universe didn't want me to say, so maybe that's why they cut me off. I had a little rant in there. Anyway, so maybe that's why they, anyway. But I figured it out. The reason why Clipchamp wasn't saving my videos is not because of the cache, okay? It was because so I did a little test and I did like a minute and then I pressed save and exit and it was fine. But when you go up to 30 minutes and you go save and exit before it has a chance to process, it doesn't save it. So what I have a little sticky note here to remind myself, okay, numbnut, doodlehead, do not press save and exit at 30 minutes. And I'm going to stick it right here. And that way I'll remember. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. All right. So first of all, I'm just going to have to, it's good. All right. Gemini. 6th Sunday of Easter. Brand new notebook. My oldest son gave this to me. He and his girlfriend picked it out for my birthday. And with this little pen. They got it. I know where they got it. At that little bookshop across from Yale. Because she goes to Yale and he lives nearby. So it's like one of those buttery, soft, almost leathery feeling, like nice notebooks. But, and I started off with the nice pen and, printing and doing my best calligraphy. And then I said, I can't write fast enough. So I switched to the old crappy pen just so I can, because I write stream of consciousness. And so I'm just using this for just like I put my name in here and stuff, just little nice things. So that's nice. Shout out to them for the nice notebook. I had to get rid of I didn't get rid of it, but my old flip one that was making me swear all the time, I put it in the drawer. Because, I refer back to my notes. It's nice to go back and look, what did I talk about, last year at this time? What were my thoughts? So, Memorial Day. Okay, so we had, here are the issues of the week before it cuts me off. Gemini season. Gemini, the twins, new moon, Gemini new moon this week. I got to write my new moon check. So some bird thought it would be funny to go crap on my window. So I'm working out the other day and I said, what is that? There's like this big spot on my window and there's bushes, briar bushes there. So I can't get in. So I'm going to have to spray it from like 6 feet and then take a Swiffer and wipe it. I guess cleaning up the windows is not included in my fees here. So I'm going to have to clean my own. So I did that. And we had a little infestation. Every year around this time, the bugs come, which is why I don't like this time of year. I always, even as a kid, it makes no sense to let kids out of school during Gemini season, which is the most intellectually curious and active season of the whole year. And I would get out of school and I'd be driving my mother crazy, because I've got North Node in Gemini, and and then so the sun would be in my ninth house, and I'd be, and she'd be like, "Go get out of here, go do something, go to the library." I'd get a stack of books, and I'd finish them the first week. She couldn't keep me, occupied. It was awful. I got my socks. I got my spring socks on here. They got little flowers. Um, yeah, she couldn't. I just was like, oh, a whole summer stretching ahead of me with nothing to chew on, nothing to, she'd get me all these craft kits and things and books and on the library, and I drove her nuts. She couldn't get anything done. She took me for swim lessons. Um, I think I was always a kid who, people around me, you know, wanted, I felt like I was not a, I was a physically fit and restless kid, but I wasn't, a kid who lived, in the outside world. I had my own inner world. Even though I like to be physically active and I needed to be, I wasn't motivated like other kids by out there stuff, like the ice cream truck and you know, I didn't care about, being in this clique or that clique or getting this toy or that toy. I never asked for toys. It all seems so pointless to me. I was like, yeah, I was bored. I was not like the other kids. I was a child motivated by knowledge and secret knowledge and knowing things that other kids didn't know and doing things that other kids didn't do. And I'm still like that. I see this Gen X content out there and I go, I don't relate to these people. I'm not relatable and I'm not interested in relating. It all seems so boring to me, and how they homogenize generations. People are as varied as the blades of grass and the birds and the flowers. I mean, sure, there's a robin, but every robin is different, right? Why toss people into generations and miss the beautiful variety? Anyway, that's my rant. Oh, stop it, Zazoo. Okay, settle down, Zazoo. Anyway, it's my rant for the moment. Um, and I can't look at social media. I'm getting to the point where it's just boring. Nobody starts conversations of any value. It's all one boring, reel after another. And it sucks your brains out of your head. It's not, and I'm on a quest to do something about that. It's not good, right? And Gen Z is not lazy. My kids are both hardworking, but they have a sense for balance in life. They have their own personal values and they stand up for them. So, and They learned from watching their Gen X parents that all work, that life needs to be balanced. They saw that we were not satisfied working for, the our older and younger bosses. There was, a lot of dissatisfaction there. We weren't allowed creative freedom. And they saw that and, they decided they didn't want to live that way. It wasn't worth it for a paycheck. So bravo to Gen Z. And they can count. They can count. Anyway, Zazoo, stop it. Okay, I may go over today. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, there's the bird poop, and so I had this little. Where did I start? Oh, the ants. I had a little ant infestation. So I said I was getting them one by one with my little peppermint air spray, and then I found this ant peppermint spray. It's all natural, online. So I sprayed it along the door crack. And so far, so good. But I also got these damn ant traps, and they're supposed to stick on the wall, but I have stucco walls, and they didn't sticko to the stucco. So I used those little pull-off strips, and it kind of stuck. But then, you know, tried putting them up, and it spilled, and the little ant stuff got all over the place and I had to clean it up. So, if you get those little traps, they don't stick very well. So make sure you have some backup tape or something to put them on the wall, because they don't stick, the ones they say anyway. So I threw that out and I just said, well, I'm gonna get the little suckers with my peppermint spray. So far, so good. And it smells nice. It smells like Christmas. Anyway, uh, yeah. Oh, so, I got my bug here. I got my bug. Scare them off. And then, today I was just looking and this really stirred up my emotion. Oh, I'm losing charge. I found this from my mom. She had written it to me May 12th, 1993. I hope I don't lose charge now. I got to go plug it in. Um, it says, Dear Leslie, always keep your angel close to your heart. And remember, I am always there too. Keep in mind that angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. So can you. Love, Mom. See, she drew a little angel on there. Isn't that nice? I forgot about that. So that jumped out at me, and I felt my just the emotion came out, and then it went back. This little box. All right, so here we go. The week. Okay, so here are the readings. We've been going for, the past few weeks. It's the sixth Sunday of Easter. Next weekend is the Ascension Sunday. So we have, we're going with the Acts and the Apostles, Paul and Barnabas, the missionaries in the early church. And then we've got Revelations in the book of John. So this has been, going. They're winding up to Jesus where he's going to ascend and they won't see him anymore. So they're getting him ready, getting the apostles ready to go off on their own, So in the Acts today, Acts of the Apostles, chapter 15, there's this back and forth discussion. It's Gentiles, right? It's Gemini season, right? So the original, the elders, the Jews and the Gentiles, or the Gentiles have joined the early Christians, right? They're the original, uh, of the community that were Jewish, right? And then the new people who are not Jewish went in there. And there's this big debate. And they're worried about all these little details. And, should they have to do this? Should they have to do that? And so, the apostles sent a messenger. That's Mercury, right? A messenger with a letter saying, don't worry, be peaceful, just abstain from, strangling. Don't eat meat from idols, sacrifices and avoid unlawful marriage and whatever. And okay, so there's this you know back and forth. That's Gemini. It's two different ways to see the situation. How there's this, looking at things from two different sides. From one, you could say the original Jews, they grew up this way. This was their law, their world, and their law, and they're, it's kind of like us today. We grew up in the 3D world of the 20th century, and now we're in this new century, and it's like, well, what do we keep, and what do we, what's we want to welcome the new, but you have to let go of the old, right? You can't bring a new religion into an old way of doing things. That's no more, right? They're trying to explain to the people who've been around since the beginning, okay, it's not like that. We're wiping the slate and we're starting anew, okay? So there's that. And the Psalm said, "Oh God, let all the nations praise you." Okay, so yeah, there's Jupiter. Sun's in my ninth house right now, and that's all about philosophy, higher education, wisdom, and Jupiter's in Gemini, I think. Uh, so, that's all about, Jupiter is about higher truth, philosophy. The view from the mountain is, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. It's all about search for truth, right? And travel to foreign lands. So this is perfect. And Gen Z is the Pluto and Sagittarius generation. So that's what they care about. My kids traveling, seeing the higher point of view. They can be a little self-righteous, right? The people who are down here and going to work, and I think that's life. But God didn't mean us to work that hard. It's not right. Okay, that's the old way. The new way is to, you know, find what kind of being are you, and you know, try to work smarter so that you don't have to struggle so much. Right? Figure out how your vehicle operates best and do that. Allow God to inspire you in moments of stillness as to which way you should go in the moment. It's all in the moment, right? In the breath, everything we need is here right now. And but the more you worry and you spin in that, that's what you're going to manifest, exactly where your mind is, exactly where your focus is. Okay? So, and then, okay, Book of Revelation. The angel took John to the mountain. He's seeing this vision of the city coming, radiant city coming down, from heaven, with high walls, with 12 gates, 12 angels in front of the gates. And that's the zodiac chart, the 12 signs of the zodiac, three in each direction. Those are the elements: air, earth, water, and fire. And then there's no sun or moon, just God's light, illuminating it. And that's beautiful. But you can relate all of this to astrology, right? It's obvious, But he's on the mountain, so he's seeing this. He's getting this perspective that people down below are not getting, you know. So then there's the Book of John. It says there's this other imagery about dwelling places this week. Dwellings, messengers, and dwellings. No, it's going to shut off on me, I think. Let's see. I think I'm going to charge it up. I get 10 more minutes. I think it might be all right. If it shuts off, I'll recharge and start it up again. Okay. So it says, Jesus is saying, whoever loves me will keep my word, and my Father will love him and will come and make our dwelling in him. All right. So there's, again, the Mercury, the messenger, and the word, the word of God comes through. It's not Jesus's word. It's God's word. Okay. All right. So he's getting ready. Jesus is getting them ready. And he said the Holy Spirit's going to come and to educate them, teach them and remind them of everything he told them. Okay. And he said not to be afraid or troubled. Once again, don't worry. He's going to a better place. He's going up to the Father, which is greater than he is. Right. He said, so The song, of course, you've probably guessed by now. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Released July 24th, 1988. It was his first single from this Bobby McFerrin, right? His first single from the Simple Pleasures album, 1988 released. It was the first a cappella song, meaning all vocals, to reach number one on the Billboard 100 on September 24th, 88. Kicked out um, Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses. I remember that. And it's a reggae tune. For the movie, it was meant to be in the movie Cocktail. Tom Cruise, that was a good one. Where he's a bartender. I used to sing this song to my kid, my youngest son, when he was a baby. It just showed up one day. I started singing, "Don't worry, be happy," because he wouldn't like to be changed. He wouldn't like to get out of the action, miss the action. So I do 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 do, and he started like bebopping, and before he knew it, it was done, and he could go off on his way. But I just did it. It was to comfort myself too. Um, so it's called, they said it was a formula for facing life's trials. Don't worry, be happy. There was some guru, Meyer Baba, who used to say, don't worry, be happy. Um, and so this got the Grammy 1989 Song and Record of the Year and Best Male Pop Vocals for this. And in the video, it's Robin Williams, some guy, Bill Irwin, and Bobby McFerrin, and it's kind of like a spoof. It's like a parody. It's goofy. I mean, and I always thought he was Jamaican, but he put on this accent. And they said he was more of the guy who ran the Mexican restaurant across the street than a Jamaican accent. But, oh no, it was good. And the other thing I never knew was that George H.W. Bush, big old Bush, Papa Bush, used the song for his 88 campaign. And he didn't ask Bobby. And Bobby McFerrin did not like that. He didn't like it. He voted thumbs down on that. And he didn't even perform the song after that. He was so, disgruntled. Here he gets all the success, and then the song it just gives him a major headache. And people did all kinds of urban legends about it. You know, myths that he was, that he died, and all these awful things they said about him. And such a beautiful song. It's such an uplifting song, and he's, has such a great voice. But people who are sad hear it and feel happy. And people who are, they think that they're above that, it makes them feel bad. So, and it sort of has an opposite of, so that's a real Gemini kind of song, I thought, for today. Um, so, I guess that's all I kind of have to say. I went on a little bit before about Memorial Days of the past, but I think I'm going to sign off a little bit early today. I've got some leftover mac and cheese. I've got to put in my grocery order. So, yeah, I'm going to sign off a little bit early. Actually, I've got 5 more minutes. I want to see what happens. I think I might run out of charge before before the video. I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, I can talk for a few minutes. See what if it shuts me off early. Uh, you know, um, don't worry, be happy, and I'll see you next week. Same time, same place, different time. If we get disconnected, but I'm just going to chat for a few more and see what happens. Uh, yeah. So, what else did I have to say? I think that's all I have to say. Kind of. Wow, it's amazing that I got it all in. Um, yeah, I was talking a little bit. Um, oh boy, I was talking about Memorial Days of the past, it's not a holiday that I remember. Growing up, I sometimes Dad would take me to the parade, and sometimes we'd have a cookout, but it was more of a day, more of a day for kind of like the start of summer than because we didn't have anybody who was in the service, any relatives. My uncle Mo was during the I guess just after the Korean War, but nobody ever talked about that really. He did he was I think buried in the cemetery where the veterans are buried, but I don't recall any relatives. My dad was in the National Guard, but see, this is our generation. We're Gen X, you know, and so there's not a lot of that. But in my former spouse's family, he had much older uncles, and they all fought in the Second World War, and then his dad and his other uncle were, they were of the Korean War age. So I think his dad did did serve a little bit. Oh, yeah, my battery's running low, so it's gonna conk out any minute here. Um, yeah, so it's probably gonna run out of charge. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's winding down, so I better go. Um, yeah, so don't worry, be happy, and have a great week. And I'll see you same place, different time. Bye bye.